two that I mentioned that were in that research study at UCSD, turkey tail and agarikon. That's a 1-2 combination that can significantly support all of the different stages of the immune response. The agarikon, what we have found with that mushroom and some of the tissue culture research that we've done is that it has an ability to significantly support a molecule that our white blood cells utilize called interferon gamma. And interferon gamma plays a role in our intracellular health. So supporting the immune response on the inside of the cell, which can be really important at certain times.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 162 of the Healthy Habit Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Dejan Matijevich here of Healthy Habit Medical Center. And we're coming at you, folks, twice a week, 1 to 2 times a week. We're going to be releasing episodes here on the show. If you're not subscribed yet, just hit that subscribe button. You'll stay in the loop whenever we post a video. And today we're checking in, folks, with Host Defense Mushrooms. We are with Richard Cividanes, National Science Educator at Host Defense, who has over 25 years involvement with the natural products industry, and his experience includes working as a staff member in health food stores and natural health food co-ops in New York and Washington State. We've been talking with Richard over the last year or two since the podcast, but even back on Radioland, if I'm not mistaken, Richard was there too. So I appreciate Richard and the team there. Thank you for coming back, Richard. How are we doing on your end?
Hey there, doctor. Yeah, great. Thanks. Good. It's a beautiful start to the day here in Northern California where I live, and happy to be here with you. Thank you.
Incredible. One thing I want to start off with, we've been getting this question a lot from customers, is, like for example, I just went and bought those organic white button mushrooms from the grocery store. Can you differentiate that between taking mushroom supplements, since for all the listeners who aren't aware, Host Defense Mushrooms is the company we're going to be covering today, which is all mushrooms and herbal based. So tell us the difference there from someone taking a mushroom supplement versus just eating good old mushrooms.
Yeah, sure. And quite honestly, I'm a fan of both. There's some really brilliant meta-analysis studies that have happened, that have occurred over the last 50 years, that really consistently point in the same direction. Those who consume and eat mushrooms 3 or more times a week in their diet tend to live healthier, live longer, have better cognitive engagements with themselves and the people in their reality. And so, there are quite a number of mushrooms that cross over both kind of classifications of the beneficial as well as the culinary. So you mentioned the cremini mushroom. That is probably the lowest mushroom on the ladder of health and wellness.
Okay.
But consuming
I got to
that
step it up. I got to step it up.
Yeah, stepping it up is a good idea. But even when you're consuming that mushroom, you're still gaining access to mushroom-based antioxidants. You're gaining access to the macro and the micronutrients that are found in those species. But nowadays in our health food stores, in our grocery stores, at our farmers markets, you have a much broader array of mushrooms that are available to you. So if you pivot away from the cremini and look more towards the shiitake, which is the second most grown mushroom in the world,
Oh, wow.
the shiitake, maitake, oyster mushrooms, inokatake, lion's mane. Those are all species that you can find in many, many grocery store produce sections and or farmers markets these days. And all of those species I just mentioned are culinary edible varieties, but they also are considered to be beneficial. The research on those species shows significant support for the immune system as well as other body systems at the same time. So if you're consuming mushrooms regularly in your diet, you're getting this first line direct access to this broad array of compounds that are found within these fungal organisms. And so I think it's a great idea to not only consume mushrooms, like my family and I had soup last night, and we had lots of shiitake mushrooms in it.
There you go.
And then I woke up this morning and I took my Host Defense mushroom supplement before I went out on my exercise hike.
Right. So the summary there is try to get, best of both worlds. They each bring something unique to the table. And you're right, there's so much incredible positive research on eating mushrooms as well for longevity, like consistently human and animal research.
It's true.
So,
Yeah, we see it across the spectrum, whether it's cell culture studies, animal studies, human clinical studies. It really does seem that when people interact with these organisms on a regular basis, you trend towards better health outcomes. And now, the research is going in so many different directions. We're finding even that a number of these edible species like shiitake, oyster, inokatake, they're also being found to have significant benefit for our microbiome, the
oh well,
microflora in our digestive tract when you're consuming these mushrooms in your diet. And that plays a role in supporting our primary immune system, right? That microbiome is the primary immune response in our body that is literally engaging, interacting, and
right.
educating our immune system. So you get this benefit of supporting not only your health, but also the health of your gut flora, which can go a long way, we're learning, in supporting other body systems at the same time.
Incredible breakdown, Richard. So you did mention research on the shiitake, but I want to hear, is there any other ongoing studies or new research findings in the field of mushroom supplements that customers should be aware of that you might be involved with currently or learning about? What's hot right now in the
Ah,
mushroom research world?
Thanks. Yeah, and quite honestly, there is a lot happening from many different arenas at the same time.
Sure.
If we hone in and focus in on the Host Defense company, the Host Defense is the brand that is created and designed by the company Fungi Perfecti. That is the company that the mycologist Paul Stamets owns and operates, and so
Okay.
he's the mycologist that's at the leading forefront of the Host Defense mushroom brand. He is the gentleman who is our chief science officer. And at our facilities, we have a full-time research team that is a group of research scientists that are doing research on a number of mushroom species that we grow and work with. Most recently, they've been doing some really exciting neuronal cell line studies with our lion's mane. These have not been published in journals yet. They're gearing up and getting
Wow.
ready for publication, but we are finding some really beautiful data in this research in regards to lion's mane and the way that it can help to support really important growth factors that our body produces that play a role in our neurological tissues, day-to-day generative activity, and repair mechanisms as well. So that's exciting research that, again, has not yet been published, but it's going to be soon. We
Interesting.
had a couple of our mushroom species, turkey tail and agarikon, were studied in a double-blind, placebo-controlled human study at UCSD, University of California, San
San Diego.
Diego. And we supplied that research team with the material. They did the research. This one still has not been published yet either, so I'm not going to talk deeply on it. But what they found was a really unique characteristic. Only 4 days of use. So it was a very small window of use of the two mushrooms in combination at a fairly large serving, like much higher than we recommend on our packaging.
Right.
But that too, we got some beautiful safety data out of that, even with larger daily servings. And the individuals either got a placebo or the mushroom material, turkey tail and agarikon, for 4 days. And then they tracked these individuals over a 6-month period of time. And what they found was that even with only 4 days of use, the mushroom group, the group of individuals who had gotten the mushroom material,
Okay.
6 months after they had consumed those mushrooms, they were still showing significant
Wow.
immune competence and immune memory versus the placebo group, whose immune competence and immune memory had started to decline much sooner than that 6-month period out of the blood panel tests that they were doing. So some really unique snapshots at how the mushrooms and the compounds found within them can have this prolonged experience of supporting the immune system even after they were stopped being taken. So that's going to be really great research to see once it comes out in the science journal that they're going to have it published
Wow.
in.
Talk about a good in-depth answer to my question on ongoing research and stuff that's going on in the field. And what were some of the mushrooms included in that
There were
array or
two
comp?
Yeah, there were
combination?
two. It was turkey tail and agarikon,
Got it.
which is like a real big focus for us in our research team and inside host defense mushrooms. Agarikon is a species that we're doing a lot of focused research and paying deep attention to because of its strong potentials to support the whole range of functioning within the immune response. Not only immune cell engagement and immune cell recruitment, where they're starting to, communicate utilizing messenger molecules, but
Right.
also it was found to profoundly, very robustly support the clearance and pacification mechanisms within the immune response as well.
Incredible, Richard. And what are some common reasons? We'll kind of back it up a little bit here and look at a 10,000-foot bird's eye view, which I say that a lot on this podcast, a 10,000-foot bird's eye view of why consumers even start taking mushroom supplements in the first place. What are some things you've noticed over the last five or the whole time you've been in this natural health product world?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we've really seen this interest in mushrooms explode over the last 8 or 10 years,
Right.
even more so in the last 3 or 4 years. It's
Yep.
really building this momentum. And I think as more and more people are coming into understanding mushrooms more, understanding what these organisms and the power that they hold, there are a number of areas that we're seeing consistent engagements and interest, and those have to do with cognitive functioning and memory, mood, those types of processes. That's a big place where mushrooms like lion's mane, like reishi, can really significantly support brain and neurological health. We're seeing a lot of people coming into the fold looking for ways to naturally support their energy levels and their ability to have not only immediate energy, but also day-long energy that's not being fueled by stimulant drinks and caffeinated beverages, which oftentimes will give you that temporary lift, but then it kind of crashes your system out and makes you feel even more lethargic and tired later in the day. And energy is another place where mushrooms have a great capacity to support our constitutional energy in our system. So those would be mushrooms like cordyceps and chaga and reishi. Again, the reishi you're going to hear me mention numerous times. And then so we got cognitive functioning, we have energy, definitely immune system support. Fungal organisms, the kingdom of fungi itself is by far the most pharmacologically active kingdom on planet Earth. These organisms produce a vast array of compounds that we are able to utilize in our bodies. We've got 50 years of research that show that many of these beneficial mushrooms can significantly support the human immune response.
Wow.
And so, as people are looking for more natural ways to support their health and their wellness and their immune system, mushrooms are an inherent place that plays a significant role. And there we have a large group of mushrooms that can play a role. The two that I mentioned that were in that research study at UCSD, turkey tail and agarikon. That's like 1-2 combination that can significantly support all of the different stages of the immune response. The agarikon, what we have found with that mushroom and some of the tissue culture research that we've done is that it has an ability to significantly support a molecule that our white blood cells utilize called interferon gamma. And interferon gamma plays a role in our intracellular health. So supporting the immune response on the inside of the cell, which can be really important at certain times. So that agarikon plays that role there, while
Wow.
also, as I mentioned, playing a significant role in helping to clear and pacify the immune response. Because we don't want to have the idea of overstimulating the immune system. That used to kind of be the paradigm decades ago, was thinking about we have to stimulate the immune system, get it up and activated. But we recognize now that upregulating the immune system can lead to downstream difficulties if that upregulation does not have an opportunity to pacify itself. So we want the immune system to be able to upregulate when it needs to, but then also to clear and resolve its upregulation and come back into that state of what we call watchful waiting. And these mushrooms have a beautiful capacity to not only help to upregulate the immune response, but move it through those stages really gracefully and bring that immune response back to its resolved self and back to that watchful waiting. And agarikon agarikon, again, was shown to strongly support many of the molecules that help to lead our immune response into that resolution process. So agarikon and then that turkey tail playing again very powerful roles in immune cell engagement and in immune cell recruitment, where the immune system is communicating with itself. That's oftentimes the period of time where we're not feeling so great ourselves, and all of those
Right.
feelings we're having are coming from the immune system that's communicating with itself. A lot of folks assume that it's the thing that the immune system is trying to take control of that's making us feel that way, but it is actually the immune system itself. And
Interesting.
turkey tail can help with that immune cell upregulation and engagement, but then also plays a moderate role in that pacification resolution side as well. So this is what we see often is that the mushrooms are able to support all of those different mechanisms in the immune response, giving you the opportunity for a more balanced immune response. And that's where you have the best opportunity for health and wellness. So agarikon turkey tail, great for immune health. Reishi and chaga, two mushrooms that are wonderful to consider for immune health, especially when you're interested in that down regulation side, when you want to have that support of the resolution occurring. They can be very, very helpful in that side of the immune response as well.
Beautiful answer, Richard. My original question was, why do consumers seem to be gravitating to mushrooms? As you mentioned, in the last 5 years, there's been a uptick in people interested in mushroom supplementation. Your answer, correct me if I'm wrong, was brain neurological health, energy support, and potentially improving immune system with those immune modulating benefits. Those would be a big three, correct? Those
Those are
three.
the big three. Yeah. And I would say maybe a fourth one to add in too would be health of the digestive system
Okay.
slash microbiome, because again, that's a place where a lot of people are coming into the health food stores and supplement locations looking for things to help support their digestion and
Right.
their digestive system. And this is again another place where the research consistently is pointing to positive outcomes for either consuming mushrooms in your diet or utilizing mushroom supplements, and them being able to support not only the microbiome, right? And that's the milieu of microorganisms that exist within our digestive tract that play such a direct role in producing metabolites and vitamins and
Right.
neurotransmitters for our body. But a number of these mushroom species also have been found in research to support the barrier tissue in our digestive tract, that most important barrier of our body. And mushrooms like lion's mane, reishi, chaga have all been shown to support the epithelial cells that make the barrier in our digestive system. So you're getting this ability for not these organisms to not only be a food source or a prebiotic for the microbiome, so that they're directly feeding the bacterial species in our GI tract, but a number of species also play a role in supporting that really important barrier and the health of the barrier when you're consuming them. So I would say those are the four places that we see the most consistent interest coming from
Wow.
individuals who are looking for mushrooms to support their health.
The number one best selling mushroom supplement brand in the US, folks, Host Defense. And here I'm doing a screen share on hostdefense.com, where they're having for a limited time here 20% off Host Defense products. This is through their website if you're not in state here in Phoenix, in Arizona. But come down to Healthy Habit Health Foods. We have the full setup here for Host Defense mushrooms. Everything found on the screen here, everything Richard is discussing today, we do have at our store, in the physical store. But this is their website, hostdefense.com. And you mentioned brain health, and just a quick scan here from even the Alzheimer's Drug Discovery Foundation on human research suggesting benefits to patients with dementia on mushroom supplementation. Chinese research from 2023, it's brand new research, significantly associated with decreased risk of incident dementia with frequent consumption of mushrooms and different supplements. Here's another one with neuroprotective, neuromodulatory, immunomodulatory activities, just like Richard is saying here, all backed by research through various medical journals and papers. Anything you wanted to add to this from dementia, Alzheimer's side of things, Richard?
Yeah, I think anytime anybody is looking to support that cognitive functioning, memory, mood, any of those cognitive processes, we have I mean, that lion's mane mushroom has an ability to significantly support those processes. It's very experiential. A lot of times
Sure.
people do not need to be utilizing lion's mane for months before they notice a difference and a
Yeah.
change. For us, it is most certainly the mushroom species that we grow the most of in our laboratories and grow rooms because
Lion's
it's
mane?
such, yeah, lion's mane. It's just, there are so many people who are interested in that mushroom. It's again, it is one of the species that can significantly support brain neurological health, digestive system health. It will moderately support the immune response. So that those three points right there is what makes it such a really hot mushroom species of the moment. It is one that is becoming a very, very popular ingredient, not only in our brand and across our formulas, but across numerous companies in the natural products industry that are working with and utilizing lion's mane. The research in the recent past has really honed in and focused in on the mushroom mycelium of lion's mane.
Uh-huh.
There are some terpene type compounds that are found only in the lion's mane mycelium. These are called erinacines, and erinacines are being implicated in the research at helping and supporting our body's innate production of things like brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF.
Right.
Most simplest way to think about BDNF is it's kind of like fertilizer for our neurons.
Oh,
You
wow.
know, when we have BDNF, it is just nutrifying and supporting our neurological tissue. And that terpene compound in the mycelium, erinacines, have been found to significantly support our body's production of this important growth factor.
Incredible. And here's just one example here, the lion's mane extract in the liquid version. Again, one of the most grown, the most common, the one that you have the most of there at the facility is lion's mane mushroom, as Richard just said. So it's a
Yes.
popular supplement. A lot of people, that's their introduction into the world of mushroom supplements, is lion's mane. So because as we get older, people coming in every day here at the store asking for, do you guys have anything for memory? I just don't feel as sharp. Or a wife
Yeah.
comes in on behalf of her husband, that he's forgetting
Mhm.
stuff. It's things like that. So lion's mane naturally hits their radar as something that can help them with that memory cognition support. So, hey, thanks for that breakdown, Richard. That was very, very helpful. And
You're welcome.
I want you to speak, if you can. How do host defense products ensure efficacy and potency of the active compounds in the mushrooms? How do we know that it's matching what the research says is beneficial?
Thanks for that question. Yeah, well, a couple of different ways. First, we are, again, as I mentioned at the beginning of the conversation here, Paul Stamets, who is one of the leading mycological voices and researchers in the United States, is the gentleman who is at the forefront of our company. So we have that deep, long wisdom that Paul has brought with him from all of his mycological mentors that he's worked with over the arc of his life, and his experience in growing and cultivating these organisms. We grow all of the mushroom material, mushroom mycelium, and mushroom fruit bodies all ourselves at our facilities. So we're ensuring that we're growing them here in the United States. We are testing the water, we test the growing substrates, we test the end product to ensure that the end supplements are going to be safe for the individuals using them. And then something that Paul is really dedicated to is research. So in our company, on our host defense mushroom mycelium and our fermented substrate formulas, we have over 22 years of peer-reviewed published research that has focused in on our material. So we have had numerous mushrooms that we grow and formulas studied in human tissue cultures, human clinical trials, human double-blind placebo-controlled studies. All of these published research papers in science journals have pointed to a support of the immune system across all the different stages of the immune system, a balanced process in supporting the immune response. So one of the things that we're deeply dedicated to is ongoing research at this level so we can continuously understand more and more about how the species that we're growing are actually interacting with the human body. We're not just doing
Right.
compound testing to look and see what compounds are present. We're looking to see how are these organisms actually interacting with the human immune system and immune cells when they're being used by humans or when we're putting them into human tissue and studying the outcomes there. So that's a big focus for us moving forward is this ongoing data that we're getting from next tier types of research, not just compound testing or pulling information from third party
Right.
laboratory research on the same species. We're really focusing in on what is the mushrooms that we're growing, how are they impacting the humans that are consuming and utilizing them. And I think that goes a long way in providing context, detail, and also providing the opportunity for individuals from the consumer to the medical professional to be able to pivot in, look at this research. And this is something most people can do. Not all, but many of these papers are open source, which means you can read them all in their entirety online. If you went to your search engine like scholar.google.com and typed in Paul Stamets, you'll find all research papers that Paul has been connected to. They're not all going to be on human health because he has a vast array of
Right.
research that he's been involved with, but you'll find the research papers that I am speaking to in regards to the human clinical trials and the human tissue culture studies. And that for us is one of the greatest ways that we feel that we can support our brand and support the people who are utilizing it is to consistently do research that's uncovering more and more information about how these organisms are really interacting with our bodies.
Richard, thank you so much. I mean, that pretty much brings us to the end of our segment. Where did that 25 minutes go? We
That was
covered
fast.
we covered difference between taking mushroom supplements in a standardized way, like through host defense, versus eating shiitake and white bell button mushrooms from the grocery stores. We talked about new research, ongoing studies coming in through the mushroom world. We even hit on Alzheimer's, dementia, and lion's mane, and how you guys ensure efficacy and potency. So thank you so much for covering all that. What would you leave us with here today for our consumers, customers in the store?
Sure. Well, thanks. Since we've talked so much about consuming mushrooms, I'd say here's a challenge for anybody who has not really thought about eating mushrooms before or who has only ever experienced the cremini mushroom.
Right.
Go out there and find yourself some lion's mane or maitakes. Look up some recipes, make that recipe. I guarantee you those lion's mane mushrooms make amazing dishes. I love making my lion's mane like kind of like a fish taco style meal
Uh-huh.
or crab cakes. They impart this very subtle seafood flavor, so they really do
Right.
mimic seafood in a way, which is why I like to make them like fish taco. Blacken that lion's mane, some lime, some coleslaw, and some little hot sauce. Oh, it's a delicious meal, and you can know while you're eating it that you're getting this additional benefit to the body. These are powerful organisms that I really humbly believe we all should be considering consuming, unless obviously you have an allergic reaction to them. But they are there for us to utilize. They are really, really healthy food sources. And I think that's something that more and more people are becoming aware of, which is why we're seeing the grocery stores selling more and more options because people are
Right.
out there shopping for them. And if that is, I think, is one of the best things you can do for yourself, consume more mushrooms in your breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Great way to end it there. So Richard Cividanes, hostdefense.com, Paul Stamets, Fungi Perfecti. Those are all good things to walk away with there for further research and going deeper. So I appreciate your time, my good man.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you too. Have a great rest of the day.